Imagine spending an entire year planning the perfect robbery, studying every move, every password, every security system, then finally stealing nearly $1 billion from a national bank. But just when victory is in sight, one tiny spelling mistake destroys everything. How did hackers fool some of the world's biggest financial institutions? How did they secretly watch a bank for an entire year? And what happened to the $81 million that actually disappeared? Stay till the end, because this true story sounds more like a Hollywood movie than real life. Have you ever heard of a robbery so brilliant that it almost stole $1 billion, yet failed because of a mistake a second-grade student would make? A group of hackers spent an entire year secretly watching a national bank. They learned every password, every procedure, every employee's routine. They even manipulated holidays and time zones across 3 different countries. Their plan was flawless, or so they thought, because one tiny spelling mistake would eventually destroy their billion-dollar dream. This is the unbelievable true story of the Bangladesh Bank Heist. In January 2015, an innocent-looking email arrived at Bangladesh Bank. Attached was a job applicant CV inside a zip file. 3 employees opened it. They had no idea they had just opened the door to one of the biggest cyber robberies in history. Hidden inside the file was sophisticated malware. Once installed, it quietly created a secret backdoor into the bank's network. The hackers now had a way in, but they didn't rush. Instead, they watched. For an entire year, the malware silently recorded everything happening inside the bank. It tracked employees, studied money transfers, and mapped the entire system. By the end of the year, the hackers knew more about the bank's operations than many of its own employees. And then they discovered something extraordinary. Bangladesh Bank held billions of dollars in reserve at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The money wasn't in Bangladesh. It was sitting in New York. To move that money, banks use a highly secure international network called SWIFT. If the hackers could access SWIFT, they could send money anywhere in the world. There was just one problem. SWIFT itself was extremely secure. So instead of attacking SWIFT directly, the hackers targeted the people using it. For months, they watched bank employees log in, approve transactions, and authorize transfers. Eventually, they learned exactly how to impersonate them. Now they could send transfer requests that looked completely legitimate. But stealing the money was only half the challenge. The bigger challenge was escaping without getting caught. So the hackers carefully studied years of transaction records. They learned what normal banking activity looked like and planned to make their fake transfers blend in perfectly. Then came the final preparation. Instead of moving $1 billion in one transaction, they divided it into dozens of smaller transfers. Meanwhile, mysterious bank accounts were quietly opened in the Philippines and Sri Lanka. Only a few $100s were deposited into them. Then they sat untouched for nearly a year, waiting. Finally, February 2016 arrived. Everything was ready. Late Thursday night, after bank employees had gone home, the hackers launched their operation. They logged into the system and sent 35 transfer requests. The total amount? Nearly $1 billion. But the most impressive part wasn't the hacking. It was the timing. Bangladesh was entering a weekend. New York was starting its business day. And the Philippines was about to enter a holiday period. The hackers had carefully chosen a moment when nobody could quickly communicate with anyone else. For several days, they expected complete silence. And at first, it worked. The Federal Reserve received the requests. They looked genuine. Millions of dollars began moving. The hackers were winning. Then something happened that nobody expected. One transfer worth $20 million was heading towards Sri Lanka. But while entering the recipient's name, a spelling mistake appeared. Just one word was written incorrectly. A tiny error. So small that most people would never notice it. But a bank employee did. And that single mistake triggered questions. Questions became warnings. Warnings became panic. Suddenly, officials at the Federal Reserve realized something was terribly wrong. They immediately tried contacting Bangladesh Bank. But there was another problem. The bank was closed for the weekend. Nobody answered. By the time employees returned and discovered what had happened, millions had already left the account. The hackers had also sabotaged a critical printer that normally printed every SWIFT transaction. Instead of printing records, it printed blank pages. Employees assumed it was a technical glitch, another costly mistake. When investigators finally pieced everything together, they discovered the shocking truth. The hackers had attempted to steal almost $1 billion. But because of one spelling mistake, most of the transactions were stopped. Only $81 million successfully reached accounts in the Philippines. And what happened to that money is even more unbelievable. The funds were quickly withdrawn, converted into casino chips, and moved through a complex money laundering network. Investigations, lawsuits, and arrests followed. Bank officials were questioned. Managers were accused. Governments got involved. Yet despite years of investigations, one mystery remains unsolved. The hackers were never definitively identified, and much of the stolen money was never recovered. Think about that for a moment. A plan that took over a year to build. A cyber attack that fooled some of the world's biggest financial institutions. A robbery that nearly stole $1 billion. Stopped by a single spelling mistake. Bangladesh lost $81 million. But that same tiny error may have saved $850 million more. And that's why this remains one of the most unbelievable cybercrimes in history. Friends, I hope that you got a lot of information from this video. To watch more such interesting videos, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, click on the bell icon, which is present next to the subscription button, so that you can get the notification of all the new videos of this channel. Like and share the video. Take good care of yourself. Goodbye.